I'm really tired of eating Diana's dry food. I'm gonna go have me a good time. Sid been dead long enough. It's time for me to start showing out a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome or welcome back to Folklore, the official gathering place for newbies, novices, and OG diehard fans of the golden age of primetime. I'm your host, Jet, still viewing and reviewing the Sophia Sedlia's primetime storylines of 1982. That's right, we're back on the West Coast. About to get into a little vintage film noir. I don't think I have to put all those words together, but I just did. So sit back and enjoy. Tell the kids it's time to play outside or out of sight. Tell Babe no questions, suggestions, or concerns for the next 25 to 45 minutes. Ha! Everyone else in earshot, be cool, be quiet, or you will be put out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Folklore. What's up, party people? Welcome or welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Folklore. I hope your day is shaping up fantastically. I have no complaints. I messed around, made myself a delicious, hydrating concoction after almost passed out in this heat. And I hope you are taking care of yourself as well. You know, the older I get, the more I start to appreciate the little things in life. Not just, smiles from people you love, not warm embraces from people you love, or away from a stranger. I'm talking about treating yourself. Can we normalize buying yourself a piece of jewelry because you want to? Not like, oh, I earned this. Doesn't matter if you did or not. Are you using your money? Even if you're not. Even if you are proudly slamming down a gift card from your grandma for your birthday. Baby, do it with pride. I started to realize maybe a year or two ago that a lot of my friends, a lot of my girlfriends are always in this position to, well, I can go on this trip. I'm just going to say, don't explain why you need to save and snip and do the things. Go because you want to go. You owe no one an explanation as to why you are going to enjoy a nice thing for yourself. And dare I say it, that might just be the theme of today's episode. So go ahead, grab yourself something bubbly and bright, pour it up, and let's jump into season 3 of Knots Landing. We're back on the West Coast. This episode is called Silver Shadows. Season 3 is proven to be a little bit more of a hodgepodge, but again, it makes sense if you're just talking about a random neighborhood in Middle America. It's not Middle America, it's on the West Coast. You're talking about mid-tier wealth, late century in SoCal. There we go. That's how we're going to frame this. I'd also like to tell you a little story, a little lore from my great state of Texas about a young girl from Mahia. So get comfortable as we jump into a vintage primetime soap opera about film noir, presence, and having your cake and eating it too. First piece of fan mail is just a quick little line from Amy in Arizona. I think Amy might have written in before. She sent a text this time and she just says, shout out to those desert kid burns. I have at least 3 on one arm from my elbow accidentally touching a buckle in our 87 Chevy, and I still get them to this day. Amy, I hear you, and dare I say it, I feel like back in the day, maybe I was just more conscious of it. I was more conscious of where the seatbelt was, what side of the car you got into. But I feel like that still happens now. Like I'll just get comfortable and forget because my windows are tinted. Yeah, don't let this desert sun catch you slipping, or don't even let a warm day catch you slipping. That seatbelt burn is something vicious. Fellow millennial Marcus from Dallas writes that he grew up knowing all about Dallas but didn't actually watch it until he was around 10 or 11 years old when his grandmother insisted one summer that he sit through her entire box set with her. He's like, for the first time in my life, I fell in love with some stories. I still technically watch stories, and he puts wrestling is in parentheses. And he wants to know if I ever got into watching wrestling as a kid, and if so, who were my favorites? Also, what was your after school television I guess he means what was my favorite show to watch after school TV. I said that so backwards. Y'all know what I'm saying. After school TV. Okay, thank you so much, Marcus. Shout out to your grandma for putting you onto these earlier. It sounds like she was a little bit of a super fan, and I can only imagine living in Dallas. How fun that was. Anybody living in Dallas or Denver specifically, I wonder how exciting that would be. Of course, I have family in both, and I had no idea that Dynasty was from Denver. I just thought about that. Like, my mom was still living in Denver when this show came out, so I don't know how this has never come up in casual conversation, or maybe it's one of those things I just didn't realize what they were talking about, because up until 3 years ago, I had no clue what the show was about other than a few memes. Okay, first question, Marcus. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and answer the programming or after school TV shows. So for a long time, my dad was very serious about not watching too much TV. He loved for us to read books and stuff, my books, but I liked watching TV. So when it was monitored when we were very, very little, I'm sure it was like PBS, Reading Rainbow, stuff like that is coming to mind. Like, I can kind of remember watching Sesame Street, and some sort of cartoon is sort of blurry. As I got older, I would watch maybe The Simpsons, sometimes Designing Women. It just kind of depended on whose house I was at. My grandma picked us up. My grandma lived right next door to my aunt. My aunt's kids were older, so I could watch whatever I wanted, and I think I would just watch whatever was on. So it was probably still Designing Women. I think The Simpsons eventually came on later on. I don't remember there being a lot, but I can tell you I used to watch Saved by the Bell before school, and sometimes Family Matter. There we go. I'd watch like Family Matters. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what else. Sorry I didn't answer that a little better, but I watched a lot of Designing Women. I used to like Lifetime Intimate Portraits. The more I'm saying this, I think I'm just making an excuse, but that I chose to watch old people shows even when I had the opportunity not to. That's what I'm gathering from this, because yes, there was TGIF Friday, but that wasn't right after school. That was like way later in the day, right? That didn't come until like after 7. If it was between 3:30 and like 7 p.m., I'm watching an old lady show. Man, I made old lady choices. As far as wrestling goes, you better believe it. As a kid, loved me some like Triple A. I remember The Rock came out. Bret Hart, Edge, what's his name? Randy Orton. Oh my gosh. Yes. Let's see. I still peek from time to time. I like Roman Reigns. I like the Uso twins. I think they have different names now. I watch WW, the Divas of Wrestling. So of course I like those girls. Yeah. I'm a fan of wrestling, and I see what you're doing there. Wrestling is your stories. I totally agree with that 100%. The drama, the intrigue. Oh my gosh, China. Yes, I remember China, and there wasn't as many women then. I can remember being very, very young, and my cousin loved Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage. I can remember his like toys. So it all kind of runs together. Man. Thank you so much for listening, Marcus. I hope you enjoy. All right, guys, that's enough jaw jacking. You ever just wake up and be like, dang, I look good today. Hair sitting right, outfit fits properly. You just are kind of feeling yourself. This may or may not have been the case morning of this particular episode of Knots Landing, called Silver Shadows. At the top of the show, we see Abby Cunningham minding her business in some little boutique store. Or some store. I don't know if it's a boutique or not. So Abby is just shopping when she's approached by this man asking her size 4 body to try on some pajamas for his mama, specifically robes. He has this big furry salmon colored robe first, and Abby's like, I don't work here. He goes, I know, but you look like you're the right size. You about a 4? She's like, yeah, I am actually. So she tries on the robe, which turns into another, which turns into another. I feel like this is God's way of telling me I need to go ahead and make the purchase. There are so many robes sitting in my basket right now. I need to go ahead and make it happen. Dynasty made me want one. Falcon Crest let me know I needed one. Oh my gosh, they're so glamorous, so gorgeous on here. Anyway, Abby tries on all the clothes he asks, including this little nightie. Now, she calls it lingerie. I think by today's standard, it is quite demure, but it would be a spaghetti strap silk sleeper. Now she don't know this is for his mama at this point. So after he buys all this, she does ask, is this for your girlfriend? He goes, no, it's for my mother. She's like, you buy your mama lingerie? And he's like, no, it ain't like that. I suppose the rest of their morning goes well. It just occurred to me now that Abby is shopping while she's on the clock. Am I judging her? Absolutely not. I have done that so many times. But I know she's on the clock because meanwhile at Knots Landing Motors, Karen is finishing up with this wealthy older gentleman in his Gotham City villain car and his chauffeur. I guess it's not a Gotham City car. It's more of an aristocratic car. He's very rich. You can tell the chauffeur is wearing a hat. They're older gentlemen. He has on gloves and a full penguin suit in the California heat. His car keeps confusing me though. Just picture 1925 car, right? Let's go 1930. It appears like the middle part is missing in some scenes, and other scenes it doesn't. Like straight on, it doesn't look like anything's wrong. Or it's not wrong, it's just designed that way. But when you see him talking, like when the chauffeur gets out and he opens the door to allow him in or out, the carriage itself seems to be very, very small, almost like like a confessional booth almost. But then you can see the steering wheel in some scenes. I don't know if it's a reflection off the glass, but it looks like you can almost remove the middle and allow the sun to rest on what exactly, I don't know. Y'all watch it for yourself. I'm sure I'm not explaining this right. It's weird. This gentleman is telling Karen about his not so fun diet, his death proof diet, which basically means no meat, no sugar, no fun. And as he's talking about it, Abby arrives with the mama's boy in a green 2-seater beater because poor paint job or not, Abby don't drive. If she don't have to touch a wheel, she ain't gonna do it. Moneybags McClure, whose government name is Andrew Douglas, director extraordinaire of A Go, is like, wow, who's that? Karen's like, oh, that's Abby Cunningham. Abby Cunningham. He's like, wow. Now, some people say a lot. Some people don't say much. Some people's face says a lot. His chauffeur Henry's face says a lot. Henry seems to be kind of giving side eye, rolling his eyes a little bit. Like he's seen this scenario play out more times than a little bit. So the next thing we see is Abby goes into Knots Landing Motors after her fresh shopping spree, and she can hear Gary talking about the gasohol situation. Well, Karen wants to come in and tell her, like, girl, guess who's got a crush on you? Old man Rivers back there is looking at you. But Abby can't hear because Gary, who's, by the way, still wearing JR's safari jacket, is talking about he needs some gasohol money. $20,000 for gasohol money. This is starting to sound like a pipe dream, Gary. It sounds like a money pit, Gary. Every time we turn around, there's an issue now. This isn't Abby saying that. This is good old Jeb. So Abby's dealing with that. She didn't actually hear Karen tell her that this old director of A Go has a crush on her. So later on that day, I suppose, or it could be the next day, there's not really any specifics to let me know, Abby and Olivia are unloading groceries from the back of their automobile in their driveway at their home. Moneybags McClure, aka Andrew Douglas, director extraordinaire, and his chauffeur come pulling up. Chauffeur hops out of the driver's seat, walks around to the car. Mind you, I just said Abby and Olivia are unloading groceries, right? Which means they have their arms full. He looks at Abby and he goes, ma'am, could you come here? Bruh, I'm okay. Abby is unbothered. Abby is remarkable. She was when the guy in the store that morning, I guess it's morning, I just realized she says, wow, this is twice in a day. When the guy Larry that morning asked her to try on clothes, she didn't like blink twice about it. She was like, okay, sure. I don't work here. He goes, I know. Cool. I'm a size 4. When the chauffeur and the old man told her to come to the car, she was like, sure. Chauffeur opens the door. Hi, madam. Abby Cunningham. I'm Andrew Douglas. Would you do me a favor? Now, in 2025, if an old man in an old car with a chauffeur opens a door and he's in a very small cabin, I mean, I'm not saying anything could happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if that door opened and I could see his elderly knees and unpanted leg. I can only imagine what he wanted to show her. Luckily, perverts weren't here yet. Back in the day, an old man could just be an old man. He says, "Could you do me a favor?" And he cracks open a Julia Roberts beauty box. And he's like, "Could you try on this very expensive, rare, couture, vintage jewelry, my dear? You know it's real, right? I don't do costumes." She's like, "Sure. I'll try it on in my purple sweats, no problem." Now, if that happened to me, I'd be like, "God, my booty was really bouncing today. I just must be killing. I don't know what I did. I don't know if it's oil of Olay. I don't know if it's the dusting powder, but Abby's scent is out there." She's like, "Absolutely." She tries it on. And this is when the old man reveals his intentions. No, he didn't want to show her his favorite body part. He thinks she looks just like this woman he used to know, Terry Clarington. Now, don't that sound familiar? Mind you, this is 1982, same year the Dynasty comes out. Terry Clarington was a silent star back in the 20s, and man, Abby, you look just like her. She's like, "Oh, okay, that's sweet. Thank you. This necklace is gorgeous." He goes, "Why don't you go on and keep it? I sure couldn't take it back after I've seen it on your gorgeous neck." She's like, "Well, don't mind if I diddly do. Thank you, old man Moneybags." He drives off, and Olivia and her are just like, "Girl, you see this? Look how beautiful." I wonder if Olivia thinks to herself, "Dang, am I going to be a baddie like her if I'm going to be like Aunt Karen? I hope I'm a baddie like my mama, because this free jewelry and stuff, I want to just be unloading groceries and old men drop off money to me too. I'll take it." Okay, I can describe the car better for you now. So imagine like a general sedan. You have the back seat, you have the front seat, and nothing separates that. It's all under one roof. Well, he seems to have some sort of tri-car. I don't know if that's what it is called properly, but hey, he has his seat, which is in the very back. The middle is open or removed so that there's space. So I guess if he had other guests, they could ride in the middle and have their own personal conversation. And then the driver's in the front. This feels like old money. This driving, you don't want to talk to the help at all, at all. You put a whole balcony in the middle of your car and let those people talk. And then you sit in the way, way back. Make sure your chauffeur come around and let you out. Now, this doesn't work for the working class, the blue collar family, because children will be jumping out of the middle. You can't pass things back properly. It's a whole thing. I'm also excited to report that in this scene, right after he leaves, Abby is looking at Olivia like, "Girl, look at your mama. This how you be a bad baby girl. This is how you do it." She's touching the necklace, but in the background, I can see the beat up old camper. Shout out to my new friends, Bob and his Jupiter. Oh my gosh. So I got an email about the Crystal Air place. And we tried to do this over text, but when you send me a text through the show note, it doesn't allow you to send pictures, which is a bummer. But I got sent a video by Jupiter driving through the cul-de-sac. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. It makes me so happy. It's like, oh my God, this is a real place. Once I finish this show, I want to go back. I really, really need to understand their shooting schedule, or if I get to ask Vilene them myself. That's going to be my only question. Then I got to run out of the room. Oh gosh. Decisions. Remember, you can send me a text. You just check the show notes if you're listening on your phone, your iPad, or whatever. You can check the show notes and send them there. And send me a text link. Or you can send me an email to soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. That is soaplorepodcast@gmail.com. Well, the good times keep on rolling. What a day, what a day. Abby is a brand new owner of a very old necklace, and she met a little cutie this morning. Her cutie's name is Larry. I just made that up. It's too many rhyming names. His name is Larry. Larry is 42. He's an engineer. He travels a lot. Hopefully he flies. Just because he has a green beater with a poor paint job doesn't mean it's not a good car. Just leads me to believe he didn't have a lot of time for that. But I mean, he's an engineer. He can definitely afford it. Anyway, we're learning about Larry because he comes over that night for a little nightcap. Him and Abby are booed up on the couch. He wants to know everything. Are you irritable? Do you hate junk mail? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, yep, yep, and yep. Do you like me? He asks. Yeah, I like you. I like you a lot. Well, the very next morning, Abby arrives at work, I'm assuming after a shopping spree, and somebody gave her a ride, only to find part of the office just filled with all this gorgeous flora. Somebody cleared out a flower shop and had it sent to Abby. Now, Abby's thinking it's Larry, like, oh my God, my engineer. He must really want to be with me. Reads the card. Turns out it is from Andrew, director Andrew. He wants her to have lunch with him. So, yeah, quickly Larry's put on the back burner. So you got to think about this. She has the options here. She's got an old man with old money who thinks she looks just like his old flame, and then she's got this new guy. Well, our girl's got to have options, right? She goes ahead and she takes him up on lunch. She goes to Andrew's house, and it is all every bit as fabulous as you would think a director of his caliber's house would be. It's huge. He's giving her a tour in every room. And she seems like she's kind of into it. Like he's a man who's lived a long and very interesting life doing sort of iconic things. So he has a lot of stories. He's like, oh, this was sent here. This is from this. Then there's this big oil painting on the wall of his paramour. She didn't look like Abby to me at first glance, but it really is all in the eyes once they zoom in a little bit later. He tells her, yes, this is Terry. She was painted by Gioberti. Now I'm starting to think, wait a minute, these are a lot of coincidences. All these names are matching up. Did somebody from Falcon Crest look at this, write down a couple names, and then create a story after this? Maybe, maybe not. You got to remember, before like let's say 1957, there were only like 8 names in rotation. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. For instance, would Chase Gioberti's dad's name be Jason? I doubt that. This man would have been born in like 1920. How many 100-year-old Jasons do you know? None. All these would his name be Chase? Not a chance. Anyway, Abby is enjoying her time, but you can't help but notice Henry, the mother butler slash chauffeur, is in the background, still not saying anything, but his judgment is so loud. Abby's being really kind and engaging, and they decide it's time to sit down and have a little tea. So Henry is watching silently and very loudly, judging her. Meanwhile, her 42-year-old boo shows up to Nas Landing. Mulder's looking for her. He tells Karen that Abby told him she would kick his teeth in if he didn't come buy a new car. So that's what he showed up to do. Karen's like, well, listen, I ain't going to turn down up on my collar. Why don't you come look at this blue coupe? It's very cute. Very suitable for taking out little fast women. We're probably going to leave you in the next episode or so. Back at the mansion, Andrew and Abby are having a good old time. Henry brings out this really gorgeous, really kind of over the top sterling silver tea set. Andrew tells Abby it was a gift from Jack Barrymore, as in Drew Barrymore's great great grandpappy or something like that. Anyway, Andrew's having a good time. He's enjoying getting to tell these stories to a new person. He looks at Henry and tells him to skedaddle. Abby's going to pour my tea. Now, I suppose this is some sort of honor, but it feels like a lot of work to me. Again, different times. I don't know how this works. It seems like it's probably an honor. Now, Henry doesn't sass him. He doesn't say anything. But the look on Henry's face says, oh, wow, it's like that. Apparently, he's not moving out of the room quick enough for Andrew, so Andrew insults him. Now, notice throughout the rest of the show, every insult he throws at this man is like a feather pun. That's his thing. He wants to insult you with foul references. So he says, well, look at him hanging around. If he had wings, he'd be circling like a buzzard. Seems a little excessive and kind of rude in front of company, but Andrew don't give a damn. Once Henry finally leaves the room, Andrew tells Abby about Terry's unfortunate demise. Looks like they were kind of having a little bit too much fun. He and Terry, back in the day, they had a car accident. She died at Laurel King in LA. He misses her terribly. Misses everything about her, from her eyes to the way she laughed to the way she lit up the silver screen. But most of all, he misses how they used to outdo each other with affection. She'd buy him a gift, he'd buy her a gift, back and forth. And he even said he knew that eventually she wouldn't be able to continue to do that because her acting career would be much, much more short lived than his directorial career. But he enjoyed their time nonetheless. And let him tell it, they were playing God, made a couple mistakes, and she's no longer here. The next day, they're at Knott's Landing Motors. Karen is sitting down doing something, and Abby's just basically telling Karen about this Andrew guy. Like, man, he used to do this. He was the director of that. He's so kind. He just seems kind of lonely. She's just kind of filling her in on the whole thing. Karen says, well, your little friend came by yesterday, Larry somebody or another, and this is for you. She hands her a check. She gives Abby a commission off the car she sold. And Abby's like, well, girl, that's great. I'll just add this to my collection this week. You know I got a new necklace, right? Karen's like, okay, that's all fine, well and good. But if you got this Larry guy, what are you doing with this old guy? What's really going on? Abby's like, why can't I just have friends, Karen? I can't just have friends. I have to always have something up my sleeve. She walks off. Well, as she walks off, Karen's like, yep, you always got to have something up your sleeve. Mind you, she just said she had nothing up her sleeve. Abby goes to talk to Gary, and they got to get to the bottom of this gas-a-hole situation. This is new technology. People aren't really biting. Plus, there's so many kinks to work out that they didn't anticipate. It's starting to cost a lot of money. So Abby presents Gary with the necklace. He's like, dang, how much do you think it's worth? She's like, well, north of $20,000. So if push comes to shove, if worse comes to worse, she implies that the necklace can be sold and or hawked. I don't know how they're going to do it. Gary's like, well, I mean, yeah, this is that business. This is kind of a funny business. So it could either work or it couldn't work. Abby is cool and relaxed, as where Gary seems a little more curious. Abby tells him she thinks their money problems are about to be all the way over. She thinks she found a potential investor in Mr. Andrew, the director. It's all sort of making sense. Doesn't feel like she's using him to me. However, if he wants to shower her with gifts, who is she to look a gift horse in the mouth? Gary immediately is like, no, I don't like that. He's an old man. He doesn't know what he's doing. I beg to differ, sir. He's an old man, so he probably does know what he's doing, barring the potential dementia. He's lived a long life, homeboy. This ain't his first rodeo. He probably knows investments better than most, I would think. But Gary's like, no. Old rich dudes like that, they don't take a lot of risks. They only deal with AAA bonds and blue chip stocks. I am far too removed from that to know what he means, but it sounds wealthy. Gary goes on to say he didn't mess with anything outside of that. Abby's like, well, he messes with me. Maybe that's why. Are you jealous? Now, I'm just going to say this. I keep going back and forth. She says that again later in the show. But again, Gary's not giving a lot of emotion. He's not showing this or that. So it's actually starting to piss me off. Are they or are they not? Because I'm 90% sure at this point that nothing's going on. I hope they don't drag out like flirtation. She even kisses Richard in the mouth this episode. So maybe I don't know. I don't know how people got down in 1982. Seems a little too friendly for my liking. Remember when Scooter kissed Laura right in the mouth, like when she first started working at the company, started making good money, kissed her right in the mouth. In front of everybody. She was in the middle of eating like an egg salad sandwich or something. Is that just normal then? I don't know. Seems like she's teasing him, plus she's got other interests, which we'll get to here in a second. But Gary just kind of looks like, not jealous, but just like, I don't like this idea. This is an old man. He's probably going to say no. At this point, if you are bleeding money every other week, again, we're not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Let me paint a picture for you. It's the fall of 1991 in East Texas, more specifically Southeast Texas, around the Houston area. A young mom is in the script club, being a midnight ballerina, doing what she's got to do to make a little change. She is fresh off of a divorce. She is quite striking, beautiful in the face. Matter of fact, she's been told she looks just like Jane Mansfield, Mariska Hargitay's mama. Anyway, she is at her normal shift, putting the baby oil and glitter on, putting on her shoes. She's about to bust it down to God knows what song that night, when an old man comes wheeling into the strip club. He sees her, she sees him. He says, "Darling, come home with me." Now listen, she don't want to shake everything. She don't want to keep doing. Being a midnight ballerina can be difficult, I assume. You know what I mean? You got to be creative. You have to keep your head on a swivel. You can't have a bunch of unsavory types. You never know what kind of clientele you're going to get in on any given night. All she wants to do is make enough money to feed her son and get the hell out of Mahia. Well, she didn't move in that night, but they do move in together. Years later, they have a wedding. He is wheeled down the aisle. She puts on a big old 1990s wedding dress, and they are married until his untimely, or rather very timely, death in 1995. Now, the young woman, the ballerina that is none other than the late great Anna Nicole Smith. And the wheelchair-bound husband of hers is none other than the infamous J. Howard Marshall, an oil tycoon out of Texas. Anna Nicole was once Vicki Lynn Hogan. She lived a rough-ish, not very wealthy life. And wouldn't you know it, one day a wealthy man comes in and says, "Hey, come home with me, come live with me, we'll be wonderful together." Now, a lot of people might say, "Now you're just taking advantage of him. That's an old man. You can't go with him. You can't. He doesn't know what he's saying. He knows exactly what he's saying. He was just old. That's it. He's just been around a long time, which means he's had several opportunities." Now, I bet you're thinking, Jet, we know you like to hang around geriatric people. Are you saying that 20 something, 23, 22-year-old women should be running after 87-year-old men? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that sometimes old men make decisions that other people don't like. That old man decided to go to a script club. He was sound enough minded to go to the script club. Here's my thing though. When I think of Anna Nicole and that whole fiasco that turned out the way that it did, I think of this. Even as a kid, I remember thinking, this probably isn't the most romantic relationship, but there's probably a sense of safety with this man that she's not going to get anywhere else. She was objectified. She understood that people wanted to see only one version of her. He saw that when he walked in, but you know what else? She had some security. Now, we're all grown adults here. We can go back and forth with, well, what does she have to do for that money? That man is 87 years old. She probably ain't had to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? She probably was doing a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of sitting around, letting him tell her about his glory days, how he started his petroleum club, how he started his business, how he used to farm, how he used to do X, Y, Z. This man would have been born in right at the turn of the century. He had 9 decades worth of stories to tell this girl, and he was kind to her and her son, which seemed to be a hell of a lot more than she got from any relative who claimed to love her. Now, the other side of this is Mr. Marshall had full-grown kids who were grandparents by the time Anna Nicole and he got married. So they didn't like this one bit because you know what? They were in line to inherit this. Now, in the same breath, I'm going to keep the same energy. I'm keeping the same energy. They felt a way about the relationship because they were expecting something. I don't think that's wrong either. This man, J. Howard Marshall, got to decide where his money was or wasn't going to go. Back to Abby. Abby has decided that if nothing else, Andrew is interesting, Andrew is charming, and she enjoys listening to him. Now, from time to time, he will forget that she's not Terry. It's just little fluffs here. It's like when he gets excited, he starts talking about, maybe a film that they did back then. And he's like, "Oh, you remember Terry?" And I mean, she looks just like the girl. So one could say, is he senile? Is he losing his mind? Does he have a little touch of dementia? Or does she just look so much like his love that he's getting a little confused from time to time? Two things can be true at once. Abby decides she's going to stick around and see what's what. While she is spending more and more time with Andrew, listening to his stories and just kind of enjoying his company, Larry, the 42-year-old engineer who travels, seems to have enough disposable cash to buy a fresh new car a day after meeting a woman who's trying on robes for his mama, seems to be I don't want to use the word fiending for, but he seems to have a yearning for women of the Fairgate clan. He stops by Abby's house one morning before she goes to work, which means he probably wasn't going to work that day. And he asks her if she can attend dinner or something with him. I might be mixing up the timeline, but just understand it's either before work or right after. Abby's gonna go hang out with Andrew, so she has to tell Larry she can't make it. This man literally gets in his car, drives about I don't know, 30, 40 feet away to Karen's door. Karen is getting out of her car. They were friends. She sold him a car. So he runs up to her and he's like, "Hey, you want to go to dinner?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." She's about to take her groceries in the house, but Abby has seen this and she's like, "I know this wench. Wait a minute. Absolutely not." Abby, with the boldness of a woman who just kind of like Alexis on Dynasty when Dexter burst in and called her with Rashid. She was like, "Excuse me, what are you doing in my room?" Not like, "Oh my gosh, I'm cheating on you. I'm so sorry." She didn't care. "What are you doing here?" That's how Abby is. Abby's like, "Wait a minute, Karen, what do you call yourself doing? That's my man." Karen's like, I know. He said that you had something to do, so he asked if I would substitute for you for dinner tonight. Karen, don't get no funny ideas, okay? Don't play with me. That's gonna be my man, so stop playing with me. Karen's just like, "Listen, a girl's got to eat. I've been at work all day. I'm really tired of eating Diana's dry food. I'm gonna go have me a good time. Sid been dead long enough. It's time for me to start showing out a little bit." That's kind of was my thought. I was really surprised that she said yes, but again, I think that the invitation was presented so casually. Plus, Karen's had a lot of people coming and going. She'll go eat with you. She'll go have a good time. Okay, Abby heads to Andrew's house and they end up watching a silent film with her doppelganger. Enter Hayden Henry. Henry comes in talking about bedtime. Andrew gives like kind of big, I don't know if he's a Leo, I don't know what he is, but he is not one to be interrupted. He's like, "Henry, go away. I'm a big boy. I can stay up as late as I want to." He was getting excited because he's like, "We need to have a party." He just saw his love on screen. He's sitting there with Abby. He wants to show all his friends this woman who looks so much like Terry. He knows they're going to get a kick at it. So he starts naming off people. "Oh man, you got to call this actress, this actor, call Chaplin. Oh my gosh, is he here? Is he in France?" If France is dead, yes, he's in France. It's becoming a little bit more uncomfortable. This is when Henry reiterates, "It's time to go to bed. The doctor had very specific orders. You're supposed to be in bed by 6 o'clock. It's almost 10 p.m. Oh my gosh. That was absolutely the wrong thing to say. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Andrew fully crashes out. He has just this really intense moment of going off. And I felt him. I would be so pissed off if I mess around and live almost 9 decades and somebody somebody that I write a check for comes in telling me I got to go to bed at 6 p.m. The sun's still out. What are you talking about? Plus, he put on his whole penguin suit to hang out with Abby. Shut up. And that was his whole point. You're embarrassing me in front of Abby. You're being disrespectful to her. Just shut up. He's really pissed. And then you know what else pisses him off even more? All his friends are dead. He can't really even show her off like that. Henry is still standing there like, "Okay, throw your fit, put your toys away. Abby's got to go home. You're going to bed, mister. March up those stairs and you brush your teeth and you get right in that bed." But like I said, Andrew was having a full-on fit. Andrew looks at Henry and he said, "Watch yourself. Mess around and get beside yourself." He basically tells him to watch out. "I'll fire you or I'll clobber you or both." Number one, we got to bring back the word clobber. It's a really good descriptor when you're thinking about a fight. I like that a lot. Henry doesn't appreciate the sentiment. He's silent, but his eyes say, "I'm not an owl, but who?" Mind you, they're both wearing suits. I don't know if it would come to fisticuffs. I can't imagine two 88-year-old men in suits are going to do much damage to anybody. Once Henry finally does leave the room, lest he be clobbered or fired and released from the will, Andrew confesses and he's like, "Oh gosh." This sucks so much. If I follow the doctor's orders, I'm going to live for a month. If I don't, I'll be dead in 30 days. That's an old country saying. I used to hear people say, well, it's six one way and half a dozen the other. I love stuff like that. He feels like I can't do anything fun, so I'm not going to go to bed at 6 p.m. And I really want to have a party, but dang it, I don't know nobody no more. So while he goes to put on his pajamas, Abby is hanging out in his bedroom looking at this mean vase like, dang, it's nice. Andrew comes out of the bathroom in his lemon pepper mustard gold robe, and I'm just immediately like, okay, I'm getting a robe if I don't do anything else. But the scene is so good because you start to see a couple of things. This is a man who was just, I mean, think of like of a Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese, somebody like that, just living at the top of the top. This is what you do. You create art. You are constantly around people. You're constantly meeting new actors and new actresses, different studios. You're working with people from the sound guy to the catering company. You are surrounded by life all the time, only to come to the end of your life, no longer have the love of your life, and not even be able to live the life you want. You are reduced to, I need to go to bed at 6 p.m. I can't get too excited. I can't even have a freaking hot dog if I want. So having this woman come back in, if nothing else, it is breathing new life back into him. Love her or hate her, call her gold digger or not, he approached her. He approached her. So I'm watching this, and you see Henry in the background, always silently, very loudly judging. Henry's pissed. He done got cussed out. He's probably a little bit embarrassed that this happened in front of Abby. Plus, he's been this man's butler for many, many moons. We know this because Andrew continues to talk his ish. Henry is pissed. He is quietly telling Andrew to kiss his watertight arse by aggressively folding blankets. He's like rage choring in the background. And Andrew's talking about how boring Henry is. Like, this is the most boring old man ever. He's been so boring because he got his gallbladder out, what was that, like 1968, 67? That was the most exciting thing that ever happened to this guy. Henry don't say nothing. Andrew also tells Abby that she's kind of the, how does he put it? She's like a joy, but she's also the symbol of everything wrong. Because as much as he likes her and as much as he wants to show her off, all his friends are dead. Yeah, he could throw a party if he wanted to right now, but would nobody come? Abby's hearing this. She's like, well, don't worry about it. You can't, okay, maybe I can't meet your friends. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be alive at least till 2025. Maybe my friends can come over. Or at least my frenemies, people I can bully into coming over will come over. You don't worry about nothing. I'll have everything set up. We're going to have us a good old time. Well, he's delighted. Finally, a little something to look forward to. Absolutely. So once he's tucked into his bed matches his robe. Did I tell you that? His bed matches his robe. I gotta get my life together. Well, after he's tucked into bed, Abby and Henry go walking down the stairs. I guess he's walking her out to the door. And she's basically poking him like, man, you really don't like me, huh? All the gifts he's given me over the last couple days. And if he continues to give me gifts, you might be out of your inheritance, huh? You don't like having me around. Henry's unbothered. He's like, lady, whatever. I mean, I've seen this 100 dozen times. I'm not worried about it one way or another. We'll see. Basically, he tells her, we'll see. And she's starting to wonder, like, dude, what's your, mind you, I keep in mind, picture this whole interaction between Abby and a mother butler, a very unbothered one who's been keeping his mouth shut. All he wants to do is go to bed. Because Andrew's bedtime is 6, his can't be any later than 6:37. So that's probably why he's so cranky. Picture this whole interaction. She's digging, trying to basically say, I'm the new thing in town. He's like, I've seen 1,000 of you. Picture all this with a Ming vase under her arm. She's walking out with yet another gift. So let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you. This man don't have a lot of time left. Baby girl, I want you to take whatever gift he gives you. You take it and you enjoy it, okay? You have the night you deserve, Abby Cunningham. I was wondering, why did he say that? I don't know how to take that, but I think if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, oh, you know something I really, really, really don't know. So the next couple of scenes is just the gang basically deciding whether or not they're going to go to this party. Val's making breakfast. Lily Mae is eating a like hungry man. Oh boy. Have you ever seen those guys from Scotland and other parts of the world? But Scotland is sticking out to me. I feel like there was more strong men from that country. I could be mixing that up. The strong men that like they lift trees out of the ground and stuff. These men are built. They're really big. They're usually well over 6 feet, kind of stout. I guess you can be tall and stout, right? They're thick and they always have a keg. And it's like strong men like that always need a keg. And it showed some of their breakfasts. It might be like 15 eggs, 2.5 pounds of bacon, just outrageous amounts of food. Tell me why Lily Mae look like she's eating for a strongman competition. She has a comically large pile of Jimmy Dean sausage on the sausage patties, not the links, on her plate. She's eating toast, just going on and on about how she can't believe Andrew Douglas is here. She used to, when she was a girl in Tennessee, Lily Mae used to go to the movies all the day long watching Andrew Douglas movies. They were so romantic. She would just be crying, hooting and hollering, snot droggling, and wiping her face. She's telling all this to Gary and Val, who are very much not listening because Gary's trying to convince Val to want to go to this party. Because, Abby said it's going to be good. I know you think it's one of Abby's schemes. Blah, 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 blah. Val ain't said nothing. She's just trying to make breakfast. That's all she's doing. And when he finally stops talking, she's like, well, yeah, I want to go. You don't know I don't like to party. I want to party. I want to go to a party. Which makes me think, why are you talking so much? Why are you selling this so hard? I'm not going to worry about him right now because I have other things to worry about, but I'm looking out the side of my eye. I don't think nothing's going on, but I'm like, why are you acting so weird? Acting weird, Gary. Maybe because he knows that she's not really crazy about Abby and Abby is scheming. And it could be that it's an old man. I just thought about that too. It could be that this is an old man's house and it would appear that this is her boyfriend. He's not crazy about it because he thinks it's kind of weird to take advantage of it. And I'm sure, okay, he's probably thinking Val thinks the same thing. Well, they end up going, Val and Lily Mae end up going over to Karen's house. They're all talking about the party. The phone rings and it's Larry. He wants to go to dinner, but Karen can't go because she has to go to a party. And she almost slips to say to him that it's Abby's party, but she doesn't say anything. So here's the deal. She and Larry went out to dinner. They had a really good time, but I guess somehow in the conversation, they didn't get to the particulars about each other until he comes to drop her off for the night. That's when it's like she's explaining how she ended up running not standing motors. She asked him once they're in her house what he does for a living. I don't know what they talked about all night. He tells her he's an engineer. She thinks it's kind of weird that he's not married because like engineers are married, I guess. But he's asking about Abby, Abby, Abby. He says Abby's name 3 times. You know what? Karen's like, you know what? I don't want to talk about Abby. Why don't you go ahead and leave? He leaves, but he kind of is popping up a little bit more. I guess I don't know. They've had a couple other interactions. He was calling to see if she wanted to hang out. Not calling Abby, but calling Karen. So Karen hangs up after she tells him, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. Maybe another time. Lily Mae and Valine are at the kitchen table and they're like, okay, girl, you smiling. You've been out with this man a couple times. What's really going on? Karen's like, that's, Abby really likes him, so I can't really date him like that. And to my surprise, I'm not surprised about Lily Mae. I am surprised about Vidalia. Vidalia and Lily Mae are like bros before hoes, dude. Or hoes before bros. That's not even your real sister for real like that. You can date whoever you want. Plus, isn't she dating this old man? Ladies and gentlemen, I am paraphrasing, but they're like, I don't see any. If she has 2 scoops, I don't see why you can't dibble dabble in just one of them. Lily Mae tells Karen, call him back, girl. Call him back and take him to the party. That's actually a genius move. That's actually really brilliant because he would get to see firsthand that she's already dating somebody and he's old, so he'd like, whatever. It clears the air for Karen. Now, I don't know if this is an Angela Channing where there will be a consequence for that later, but right now, this is what's going to happen. Okay. So Val, Lily Mae, and Gary, Karen are all set to go. Richard is at the house now. Okay, I don't know if Richard kept the house and Karen, Laura is visiting, or if Laura kept the house and Richard is visiting. I tend to believe that Richard kept the house because we saw Laura leave. Plus, she said, Richard, I called. You said you weren't going to be here. So I assume she thought she'd come over and pick up Jason and leave. She's also very big pregnant now. She's like 6 months at least. He invites her to Andrew's party. She's like, well, no, why would I do something like that? I don't want to go with you. We're not together. We're not married. We don't live together. We don't do nothing. Filling in the audience. He goes, I know, but it's a mansion and he's old. He's probably going to die. Don't you want to have first dibs to sell the house? I think she doesn't say like, yeah, but I'm sure she's like, well, I mean, he's not wrong. Plus it's a director's house. I could probably get a pretty penny for that. Also though, there are probably a dime a dozen in LA. There's probably so many director's houses. Next thing we see, the party is popping off and I immediately have beef with Kenny. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, okay, you can be a bad dancer to difficult things. How are you screwing up ragtime? You don't know, baby. It's almost impossible. I'm not even going to get into it because it's going to piss me off. Where Kenny's dancing is trash. Ginger, listen, I know a club girl when I see one. I know a go-go dancer. I know somebody who's could peep up on a handstand if the occasion calls for it. Ginger was a party girl. I don't know. I forget what Ginger's government name is, the actress. I know a club kid when I see one. I'm not saying she was dancing fantastically, but that's the girl on the dance floor from open to close, I guarantee you. So she's cutting the rug, and Kenny is just, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing like the goofy dance. You ever watch the Mickey Mouse Club and they start doing the hot dog? He messing that up. How do you mess that up? Let it go, Jet. Let it go. I'm not going to get them. Okay. And then also, this is the party. Let me get my thoughts together. This is the other part of the story where Abby asks Gary if he's jealous. Jealous? We all know. I'm not letting that Mexico kiss go. Something is going to come up. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. But if you keep talking about it, now I have to keep thinking about it because why would you bring it up in a show? Especially a show like this. Knots Landing does not seem to throw away things. Dynasty does. We'll talk about that on the next episode. We're going to talk about Blake's birthday party. But, I don't know. It pissed me off too. It was probably Kenny's dancing that triggered it. And I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for any more riffraff, okay? The party is a smash hit. Everybody has a good time. Lily Mae pulls out her Bob Ross, Richard Simmons wig. And she's killing it, baby. She's even trying. She kind of wanted to sing for the director. I guess she thought he was going to put her in a movie, but I would love for somebody to tap her shoulder and be like, girl, he makes silent movies. Or at least some of them. Makes Lily Mae know, never mind. If there's an opportunity to sing and put on that Jerry curl wig, baby, count me in. So the party is going well, and dare I say it, Hateful Henry seems like he's kind of accidentally having a little bit of a good time. Him and the rest of the help are probably drinking a little champagne in the back. I did see him like turn and look at one of the maid's booty one time. So maybe they were having a good time. He and Abby come. Oh, I forgot this part. This is the most important part of this. This is a mansion. There's music. There's ragtime music. People are dressed very well. Ginger did not get the memo. She should have worn a dress. She got on hot pants and platforms and a candy cane striped shirt. Ginger wanted to shake it fast. Baby Two Names was really really cramping her style. But Abby comes downstairs in a 1920 Easter Sunday dress, I'm supposing, or probably like a 1914. You ever see the Titanic? You know how they dress, right? Not the Kate Winslet Titanic, the poors, the people who was down, man, side note. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting excited. When you saw Titanic, tell me that you didn't want to kind of go hang out with the Irish kids in the basement. They were having a time. That was the club. They was having a time. So she's wearing an outfit maybe that one of them would wear. Not the Kate Winslets, but maybe a little more, a common person. But she looks just like Terry. It seems a little bit rude, but also it could be, granting this man's wish. He wanted to show her off. So it's only right that she looks like Terry. Well, they're having such a good time. Once the party wraps up, it seems like everybody was respectable. The party wrapped up kind of early, so Henry could go to bed. Oh, I forgot about Henry. She and Henry have another quick little exchange, and they seem to just kind of make peace. She's like, dang, don't you want all this when he passes away? Henry breaks it down. He said, baby girl, most of this man's money is going to go to charity. Anything else, I'd be surprised if there's $1.2 million worth of stuff left after everything. Abby's like, no. The house alone has to be worth more than that. And he's like, taxes. This is America. They're going to tax your ass to death, even when you're dead. And she's like, oh, okay, you're right. But don't you want everything that's left? And he goes, don't you? And she's like, oh. They clink glasses and carry on. Well, once the party's over, everyone's gone except Abby, Henry, and Andrew. Andrew had a time. He wants the party to keep on going. She's dancing with him, but she's probably getting a little bit tired too. Andrew's like, no, one more record. Abby's like, well, who's going to pick you up off the floor? Abby, that was a little rude. Yes, he's old. Yes, he's on his last leg. Yes, he could very well pass out on the ground, but you had to say it out loud. He gets super pissed and he calls her like a clucking hen. All of his insults revolve around some sort of bird. So he's like, what are you, the clucking hen club? Where is your beak? Where is your feather? He said it in the exact same tone that Nene Leakes told Kim Zolciak on the reunion show. Where is your scooter? Where is your scooter? He said it just like that. Where is your beak? Where are your feathers? I'm putting that on a shirt. An old clucking hen. Jesus. I'd be insulted if I were 400 years old. Well, he's pissed. He's like, fine. You know what the party on it? Party's over. I'm going to bed, Henry. I've been putting myself to bed for the last 150 years. And Abby's like, well, damn, what did I say? And Henry, now it's all starting to make sense. Henry's looks, Henry's side eye, he has been with this for years and years and years. This is a random Thursday night for him. And he don't say much, but the look was like, what'd I tell you? Tried to told you. Oh, man. I was a little embarrassed for Andrew, a little bit disappointed for him because it's just one of those moments. He was just having a good time. Everybody else is remembering that he's old and decrepit. He don't want to think about that every moment of the day. Let things happen naturally. Let the party carry on until he wants to pass out. It wasn't going to be much longer than that. But unfortunately, Abby's, I wouldn't call it a premonition. I wouldn't even call it magical foresight. It's just 1 + 1 is 2. And sure enough, maybe the party was a little bit too much for him. He was kind of shaking it a little too hard on the dance floor. Next thing you know, boom, 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 he has some sort of attack. It's just like when your parents tell you not to do something. Actually, one time my dad told me, I think I was dumping a bag. Can't even remember what it was. He was like, well, roll the window all the way down. If you try to just do like a little bit, it's going to blow back on you. I know what it was. It was like one of those, do you remember those candies that used to come in like this long white pouch? And one part of it was like a stick. Looks like a doctor's thing they put on your tongue, like a white stick. And you're supposed to like lick it and dip it in the sugar part. I didn't really like those, but I needed the pouch to hold my gummies. Like, so he was like, okay, tear the pouch and open the window all the way to pour it out. If you try to do just like a little inch or two worth of window at the top, it's just going to it's going to blow back on you. I wasn't trying to hear that because I knew everything. And sure enough, he knows I just wasn't all that coordinated. All of that tangy, sweet crap went right into my eyeballs, and I had a mild panic attack in the back seat because I didn't listen. I didn't want to hear that. I thought I could do it my way. Andrew didn't want to listen. And unfortunately, his body's like, oh, you're cute. 30 days, guess what? Now you got 35 minutes. It's not funny. Oh boy. So Abby gets word of his attack, and she calls Richard like, hey, Richard, can you come with me back to this mansion? This old man that I've been leading on a little bit, I think he might have written me into his will. Would you mind coming just so it's legal? Richard's like, sure. Real quick, Larry did end up going to the party with Karen. So now Abby knows that that's a thing. Well, Karen is feeling guilty. She thinks they're just really good friends. He comes over. They're about to go on another date or get together. I don't know what you call it. If she thinks they're friends, she thinks they're just hanging out. He comes over. She's like, hey, let's sit down real quick before we leave. Oh, I know we're friends. You know we're friends. I don't think Abby knows that. I think it makes her uncomfortable. And he goes, well, I don't really care what Abby thinks. I kind of want to hang out with you. And she's like, oh, well, don't mind if I diddly do. Back to Abby. Abby and Richard make it to the mansion just in the nick of time to see Andrew in the bed. He's not looking good. There's a doctor who's like, yep, got a few minutes here. Doctor/lawyer, because he mentions that the will has been adjusted. Oh, he pulls a will out of his pocket like it's an invitation to a garden party. And when she had walked into the room, Andrew announced, oh, there's my girlfriend. So, okay, cool. His girlfriend. Cool. Oh, let me go back. Just one little, I want to get this right. I found it. When Andrew insulted Abby night previous before said attack, he called her, quote, the nag control, the sitting hen society. Where is your beak? Where are your feathers? And then he had said to Henry, drive her home before she starts laying eggs. Oh my God. The nerve. Well, now he in bed, about to die. Once everyone else clears the room, it's just he and Abby. He told her that he did write the codicil to the will. New word, add it to your vocabulary. She, at this point, it's a little bit too much because you can tell she did like him. He's her friend. He wants to call her girlfriend, fine. There's nothing romantic. There's nothing sexual there. It's just a good friendship. She says, listen, I don't want your money. I feel bad about taking your money. I really don't want anything. I just want, come on, dude, like take some medicine or something. And he's like, stop. Listen, you don't have to protest, girl. I'm going to give you what I'm going to give you. She's like, okay, I don't mind if I do then. You twisted my arm, Andy. This man starts to die, but not quick enough. This man starts to direct his own death scene. He's literally lying in bed, dying in bed. And he's like, God, dying in this bed would be a downer. It would completely just bring down the energy of the film. But a miracle at the end would be, that's a little too sappy. I don't like that ending. And Abby's like, to hell with the downer. Just do the miracle. Take the pill. Do whatever you're going to do. And he's like, nah. Then he decides to render an A and B selection real quick. Only he gets about 10 seconds into the A selection. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that means, that is an old saying where a choir director at a church or the preacher at a church would be like, can the choir give us an A and B selection? They need to sing 2 songs. So he tries to sing A and B selection, only he gets about 10 seconds into it and dies. Just, she's like, oh crap. Oh no. Well, a few moments later, we see Abby on the couch. This is a sad moment. You know what I mean? But I was a little distracted. There's a lot of patterns on his couch. The pillows are a different pattern. Abby is also wearing every available pattern from the It's a Small World ride at Disneyland. She's got on a ruffled shirt, a tiered prairie skirt, looks like she's from Denmark, Mexico, Galapagos Islands, India, Australia, uptown, downtown, out of town, outside, inside, Kenya, and Tupelo, Mississippi. It's a lot. Girl, I can't. Who made this? I had a hard time listening, but I put on the closed caption so I could hear over these patterns. And lawyer starts reading. Lawyer doctor. I don't know what the heck he is now that I think about it. Man starts reading the will. And he's like, blah, blah, blah goes to charity. All the assets in the house go to Henry, the butler. The codicil is that Miss, what it should say is Abby Cunningham, only he messed around and forgot that her name wasn't Terry Clarington. That's who he ends up leaving everything to. And the kicker is that the will started off of I, Andrew Douglas, of sound mind and body, leave blah, blah, blah to Terry Clarington. This is why Henry was so smug and unbothered through the whole show. That's what Abby grabs the will. She's like, no, wait a minute. No. He talks about me. He threw a party for me. He was leaving this to me. She was going to split everything with Henry. Now Henry goes, now doesn't that say sound mind and body? Does a sound mind write something like that? Does a sound mind write a dead girl's name, a girl who's been dead for, 60 years at this point? That sound like a sane person to you? And she's like, well, hell. At least she got a mean vase and a necklace worth upwards of $20,000. You win some and you lose some. This episode was kind of fun. It is one of those like, okay, what are they doing here? They're just having a good time. They're just writing. We'll figure out the details later. But I'm so glad this episode happened because I would have never noticed something that has kind of been dancing in the back of my mind for a long time. Richard's voice. I like it. I enjoy hearing him talk. I couldn't quite place it though. Had the director in the show not been named Andrew Douglas, I might not have noticed that Richard sounds exactly like Michael Douglas. Isn't that cool? Yeah, this is a good episode though, but it definitely reminded me of Anna Nicole and the big kerfluffle, that poor woman. So much was made of her. And point is, we could blame it on the times, but then you got to think about when Anna Nicole passed away. I remember her being drugged through the mud when I was a kid. And then by the time I was in like early adulthood, she was being drugged in the mud for something else. And it all kind of stemmed from this one choice. Had she decided to just ignore this old man who probably would have just kept coming back to the strip club over and over and over, or the dancing booth, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, if she had decided to ignore this man, she might have still had a modeling career or whatever, but she wouldn't have had to been drugged through the mud through this hideous trial where people basically called her everything but a child of God because this was an old man. You got with an old man, like he went after her. She did not seek him out. She would have never in her life bumped into someone like him. It would have never happened. Abby, on the other hand, was like, you know what? I am going to shamelessly allow this man to shower me with gifts because you know what? That's his choice to do just that. That is his choice to do just that. All right, guys. That was fun. That's wild. I kind of forgot about that. I think really, like as a little kid, I probably watched Power Rangers. Now it's all coming to me after the question has been asked long ago. But the older you get, you just have other things. I had school stuff to do and other activities. Alright guys, join me next time as we jump into Dynasty. I cannot wait to tell you all about this baby's birthday party. My goodness. In the meantime, in between time, said it once, I'll say it again, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And also to quote the millennial icon and modern poet and orator, Nicki Minaj, all around the world, do you hear me? Do you like my body? And Nicki, rest in peace to Anna Nicole Smith. Yes, my dear, you're so explosive. Yo, love me stuff. Stay hydrated, stay moisturized, mind your own business, and keep all of your drama on TV.